Hello my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that I've been given the pleasure to welcome you onto my channel, I'm Vanessa Samina and welcome to the fam. You guys, today's reading is all about whether you should stay or whether you should move on. So guys, I'm not out here trying to ruin anybody's relationships. I'm not here trying to mess with your chances of being with your twin flame or your soulmate. So the purpose of this video is to give you information from the universe that you maybe hadn't thought about or didn't know existed, and I'm just trying to guide you onto the best possible path for your love life. But in the end, the decision is completely up to you, and I want to make that very clear because I don't need anybody coming for me, okay? But I'm definitely excited to share messages with you that I'm channeling from the universe regarding your love life and the best possible decision that you could make for yourself. So I have prepared 4 groups that you may choose from, and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. So the groups are as follows. We have the Serpentine, we have the Tourmaline Quartz, we have the Kunzite, as well as the Magnesite. So guys, the timestamps for the 4 groups are in the description box, so feel free to fast forward to your corresponding reading. So yeah, you guys, that is it for the intro. I want to spend more time in your readings, so I'm gonna get straight into it with the first group, which corresponds to the Serpentine. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Serpentine. So group number 1, I want to first and foremost speak to you about why you may have chosen this mineral. So this mineral is for anybody who needs to get stuck energy unstuck and get rid of tired beliefs. Anybody in need of a fresh start. So could that be an indication on whether you should stay or go? Let's move further into your reading to figure out exactly what that could mean. Okay, so group number 1, in your reading we have the 2 of Wands, we have the Hermit, we have the Ace of Swords, we have the 6 of Pentacles, we have Look for a Sign, we have Bridget, Master Buddha, Saint Germain, as well as Communicate Clearly. So group number 1, I don't want to waste any time. I want to get straight into your reading. So as we already touched upon in the Serpentine, you may be in need of a new start, and in the Ace of Swords, I definitely see that there is a new start ahead in communication. So regarding whether you should stay or go, I definitely see that what you first need to do is communicate clearly. So if your needs are not being met, or you feel sort of like it's hard for you to speak up, it is now the time to speak up. I can see in the Ace of Swords that a new beginning is what will truly serve your love life, a new beginning in trying to just be more open about your thoughts and not keeping so much to yourself just because you don't want to come off as demanding or put yourself in a light that is not so cute, if you know what I mean. So sort of don't bother with trying to do that. Just be yourself and communicate your needs very clearly, because the answer as to whether you should wait or move on lies in the reaction of the other person when you start to communicate clearly. So if you need time to just be alone, I can see in the Hermit that that is something that would be beneficial. Just taking a little bit of time to think about how you're going to say things clearly, because what I mean when I say you have to communicate clearly and not worry about how you may come off, I definitely still feel like it would be important for you to take a little bit of time to soul search and a little bit of time to reflect on how you can best possibly communicate your needs and the things that you want out of this relationship. So in the 6 of Pentacles, I definitely feel like there is a time where emotionally sharing is important. So as I already mentioned, communicating your needs and what it is that you want out of this relationship is at the forefront and will allow you to have your answer. And I also see and Look for a Sign that emotionally, that is what you need to be doing right now. You need to just sit back and give things a little bit of time to see the signs, because signs will allow you to make your decision on whether you want to wait or move forward. So the answer is not so simple for you, group number 1. The answer is more like giving things time to reveal themselves, giving things time to show their true colors. Because in the 2 of Wands, I can sense that there is something here that you still need to weigh. There are pros and cons that you're kind of caught up in right now. And in order to truly know what the right decision is for you, it is best for you to just wait for those signs, okay? And regarding the signs, I definitely feel a connection to the Master Buddha in increased awareness. I feel like that deep connection to your soul, to your inner voice, trusting your intuition is what will allow you to make the right choice for you. And obviously, I want you to know, group number 1, that you're not destined to be in a relationship where your needs aren't met or you don't feel emotionally fulfilled. Because in Bridget, I can see that you have to move away from the thought that you might have to settle for less than you truly want to. You have to move away from that and move into wholeness and recognize that you have the power and the inner strength to let this person know, hey, I'm willing to put up with X, Y, and Z, but A, B, and C, that is not going to work out for me. And you have to sort of be strong enough to know that, okay, this may backfire if I let this person know exactly what I want and they are not willing to give it to me and they're not willing to sort of realize that that is a non-negotiable, then I may have to move on. And that is exactly what I see for you, group number 1. I see that what you need to do is not be afraid to communicate. What you need to do is not be afraid of the outcome. Either way, you know, what choice do you have? Do you want to be in a relationship where you're unhappy or you feel emotionally unfulfilled, but you're in a relationship with somebody that you adore? Or do you want to be in a relationship with somebody who understands your emotional needs, but you may have to cut other people off that you truly liked to get to that person? Because sometimes, you know, things are sort of right, but not 100% right. And I don't want you to settle for sort of right. I want you to only go for what truly brings you joy. I want you to only go for the kind of person who will uplift you, who will love you unconditionally, and who will allow you to be yourself and will be able to be flexible to your demands, because relationships are all about working together. They're all about respecting each other's needs. And I definitely see in Saint Germain that you have to create your own sort of perfect relationship. You have to create your own path to your perfect relationship. You have to make room for good energy. And that is exactly what I mean with creating your own relationship. If you never make room for that relationship of your dreams, if you never sort of cut out the people who you intuitively know are maybe not ready or are unwilling to give you what you desire for whatever reason, you know, maybe they just like drama, maybe they're just a little childish, maybe they're not very mature people. Once you move beyond, you know, the fear of letting those people go is when you make time for positive energy and that perfect relationship. So group number 1, I hope this has given you some ideas as to whether you should wait or move on and just the next steps to take in order to get to that final decision. And yeah, I hope this video was motivating, uplifting, inspiring, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Tourmaline Quartz. So group number 2, first and foremost, if you are not new to my channel, then you know that I like to first discuss why you may have chosen this stone, because oftentimes there is a deeper meaning there. There is another reason rather than just the fact that you like the number or the look of the stone. So group number 2, you may have chosen the Tourmaline Quartz because you have to now shine a very bright light on the vampires and just bloodsuckers of your life, the people who play the victim card constantly. So group number 2, know that a lot of us have those types of people in our lives, those types of relationships, and you have to start to become honest with yourself about those relationships and whether you are able to turn them into positive relationships or whether you need to let them go. So group number 2, this is really interesting in correlation to whether you should wait or move on. I think it's like a really great combination because we will truly be able to shine a light on this situation in your reading. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so group number 2, in your reading we have the 10 of Wands, we have the 4 of Pentacles, we have the Sun, the Knight of Swords, we have Opportunity, we have Hope, we have Joanne of Arc, the White Eagle, as well as Yes. So I want to get straight into your reading, and I want to start off with the 10 of Wands. So group number 2, one thing that I see for you that I want to quickly discuss is the fact that I see some sort of emotional exhaustion here. I see that you're kind of tired and that there's a situation where you need to just put it to rest and give yourself time to recuperate your strength and regain your strength. So group number 2, if this situation has been stressing you out and just constantly thinking about this person and whether you should give it time or whether you should move on, I see that what is essential for you is to still remember to take care of yourself, because while you're very much caught up in this situation or you're emotionally invested, at the end of the day, you don't know if that person is just as invested or is losing just as much sleep over this situation. So why should you be the one putting yourself in an uncomfortable and tired position when you can nurture yourself and still get to a state where you know whether you should stay or whether you should move on? So moving further into your reading in the 4 of Pentacles, one thing that I want to talk to you about, and this may be a topic that you didn't expect, that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but I want to talk to you about their assets, their things in the earthly realms, and whether they're being stingy or whether they're spending. So with spending, I don't just mean financially, but obviously if one of the things that you require emotionally is going on dates and you would like them to invite you every now and then that is obviously something where if they don't do it and you have communicated it, then that is an indicator that they are not serious, that maybe you should leave. But another thing in the earthly realms is, do they prioritize you? Do they make a time for you? Do they give you the time and attention that you desire and require? So that is one thing that I see in the 4 of Pentacles. The fact that they may be a little bit stingy with their time could be a good indicator for you to sort of figure out whether this is right for you or not, or what you may have to get together to talk about. As I can see in the Sun, that there is love and light in your life, there is love and light in your relationships. I see that getting together with the people who you love, who adore you just as much as you adore them, and just talking to them is going to put you in a good headspace and is going to allow you to see things very clearly. But definitely watch out for the 4 of Pentacles. If you feel like they're being a little more stingy with their time, with planning ahead with you, with taking you out and spoiling you in the ways that you love and you desire and you crave, then that could be an indicator that maybe their headspace is not where you would like it to be, or their headspace is not as invested as yours. So in the Knight of Swords, I see that what you have to do is communicate clearly. So chances are you may have not told them that you're exhausted with this sort of yes or no. You're exhausted with not completely knowing whether you should give them another chance, whether you should give this sort of relationship time. And you're also exhausted of not feeling like you're being put first 100%. So talk about that and know that when you talk to them about this, their reaction is what will be a big indicator as to whether you should stay or whether you should go. So obviously, there is opportunity there. There is opportunity in communicating with them to get to a point where they're like, wow, I didn't even know. I didn't know that this is what you need from me. I didn't know that this is what you really love and crave. So by speaking to them, there is an opportunity to open up a new door, to allow new facets into the relationship, and to know in your heart that yes, I'm gonna stay because I told them what I need and they're willing to make the changes, and I see and feel the changes. So this is a relationship that I want to stay in. But just as much as there is opportunity for that to be the case, there is also opportunity that you will unlock this knowledge that I told them what I need, but they're still not invested in trying to make things right for me. So opportunity goes both ways in this scenario, group number 2, and I want you to know that, and I want you to not be afraid of the outcome. So in the Joanne of Arc as well as Hope, I definitely see that what you have to do is focus on your purpose. You have to remember your worth. That is something super important that I see in hope. Love and acceptance is something that you should not only give them and that you should not only feel obligated to give other people. Love and acceptance is something that you need just as much, group number 2. So don't deprive yourself of that, and know that you're deserving, and choose loving thoughts over thoughts that are self-critical. So if you often think to yourself that you don't know whether they like you because your stomach isn't as flat or your hair isn't as shiny, or you think that maybe you're not as witty or intelligent or fun, those are not loving thoughts. Those are all thoughts that are self-destructive, that are just going to put bad vibes in your life and the relationship. So choose loving thoughts such as, I'm beautiful, I love myself unconditionally, I'm smart, I'm witty, I'm funny, and I'm willing to share that love. So moving further into your reading in Joan of Arc, as we already touched upon, you have to focus on your purpose, and I want you to release any fear of persecution and speak the truth. So as we already touched upon in the opportunity of communicating your needs and basically just giving them this last sort of chance to win you over, I want you to not be afraid of being judged. So that is one thing that I did very early on, say in my relationship. So I've always been very honest with what I wanted, and I've done that throughout my relationships, and I found that that really helped me make the decision on whether I want to wait or leave. Because if you make it from the start very clear that, for instance, you want somebody who fulfills you emotionally and makes a lot of time for you, or you want somebody who is willing to settle down and start a family, when you make that very crystal clear and there is no room for misunderstanding, you know whether this person is stringing you along or keeping you warm, or whether, you know, they're actually invested in you. So don't be afraid of being judged, because at the end of the day, it's us who often feel like, oh my God, I don't want to say what I truly want, I don't want to be judged. But really, it's important for you to not be worried about any of that, just because the person that you're meant to be with is not somebody that is going to allow you to feel judged in the relationship. So in the White Eagle spirit, one thing that I definitely see is that consulting in your family can be very helpful at this point in time. As we already mentioned in the Sun, there is happiness and love in your life. Let's not forget about all of those beautiful things that are going on. And I definitely feel like it is important for you to speak to somebody older than you. Speak to your mother, your grandmother, your father, and ask them about their relationships. Maybe they have had, you know, failed marriages, failed relationships that they can give you wisdom from. And that is one thing that is invaluable and that you should make use of while you can, because you never know what life has in stock. You never know what may happen tomorrow. So make use of the people who you love and adore and learn from them. Make use of them by learning about their story, their life, and that can allow you to make the right choices for you. So in yes, I definitely see that, you know, there will be a very strong sense of knowing here. There's something going on between you and this person where after this reading, you will have this sort of clarity. You will know, okay, this is what I need to do to figure out exactly whether I should wait or whether I should go. I see that you're not going to doubt yourself as much as you usually do, because you're going to know that you deserve love. You deserve to feel worthy, and you're going to put your worth first. And that is something really amazing, group number 2, and that is what I want you to keep in mind with this relationship. Always protect your self-worth and your self-love. So group number 2, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Kunzite. So group number 3, first and foremost, I want to talk to you about why you may have chosen this gorgeous stone. I mean, its looks is reason enough, but you may have also chosen this stone because you're naturally a collector of good vibes. You love good vibes in your life. It's something that you're passionate about, but you may feel knocked down and disappointed right now. You may sort of feel like you have a very heavy heart. So it's very interesting that you chose this stone, group number 3, in correlation with the question today of whether you should wait or whether you should leave. So let's move further into your reading to figure out exactly what is going on and exactly what would be the best possible choice for you to make. Okay, so group number 3 in your reading, we have the Queen of Wands, we have the Nine of Swords, we have the Nine of Cups, we have the Eight of Pentacles, we have the situation will improve, we have Kuan Yin, we have Mary Magdalene, the Miriam, as well as within the next few months. So group number 3, I want to get straight into your reading. So one thing that is instinctively, clear, the universe is communicating with you that the situation will improve within the next few months, and that is undeniable. So if you feel right now like you're in turmoil, as we talked about in the mineral that you chose, you might sort of feel a little down or disappointed right now. I definitely want you to know that the situation will improve, that things won't be like this forever, because sometimes when we're in situations of turmoil, it can be easy to think, oh my God, like how am I ever going to get out of this? And this is what I see in the Nine of Swords, group number 3. I see, sort of like worry, I see anxiety, maybe even nightmares, a situation where you're overthinking, where you're being kept awake late at night when you should be sleeping just because your brain is still working. So that worry and correlation with the fact that you're maybe a little bit disappointed, or you're sort of in a very tight spot emotionally, where you feel like you have a very heavy heart about this situation because this is not an easy decision for you to make. I definitely see that that is just causing more stress on your body, which is making the situation worse than it needs to be. So know that this tension will release itself within the next few months, but you can also allow yourself to release this tension sooner. How could you do that, group number 3? So in the Nine of Cups, I see that a way for you to release this tension and to be able to make a clear-headed decision is to celebrate all the greatness that is in your life right now. So if you're having a very successful time at work, or just your projects that you're doing on the side are going well, you're proud of yourself, you're achieving things that a few years ago you never thought you were going to achieve, focus on that and celebrate those. Celebrate those with the people who you love the most, and sort of take good vibes, collect good vibes from each and every one of these little achievements. Group number 3, know that a ton of little achievements, a ton of little things that are going well, if you are grateful for each and every one of them, if you allow the good vibes from each and every one, you collect good vibes from your work, from the relationship with your mom, your sister, your best friend, then you collect some more good vibes from the creative ventures that you're doing, more good vibes from the self-love that you have. All of a sudden, the good vibes are this huge heap, this huge pile that you can feed off of, that you can feel like, hey, whether this works out or not, I have so many amazing things going on in my life, and I don't need this relationship. This relationship is meant to be an add-on in my life. This is not supposed to be the center or focal point of my happiness. So that is one thing that I see in the Queen of Wands. I see this side coming out of you where you're thinking exactly that. The relationship should enhance your life. It shouldn't make things difficult. A relationship shouldn't be that hard, especially at the beginning, if you are at the beginning of it. And you know that you have to love yourself. You have to take pride, joy, and good vibes from everything that is going on in your life that is positive. And you're not going to let a relationship ruin or dim all of those lights that are going on. So moving further into your reading, I see in Kuan Yin, well, basically in Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, and the Miriam, I see that a reoccurring theme is love. I see that a reoccurring theme is choosing love, is allowing you to follow your inner calling, as well as seeing the light in every situation. So I want to start off with the Miriam. So one thing that I see in the Miriam is that you have to forgive and choose to heal. You have to see the light in everything and remember that love doesn't have boundaries. So if things have not worked out up until this point and you're not willing to wait, you know in your heart that maybe this isn't the right thing for you, then you have to choose to forgive yourself for wasting this time and energy, maybe even telling people about this person. And there can be a sense of embarrassment with letting go of somebody, but that is completely normal, and I want you to let go of any feelings of shame. If shame is something that you're feeling and it's a fear that you have of letting go of this person. So ask yourself, group number 3, are you afraid to let go of this because of shame, because of public humiliation, or are you afraid to let go of this person because of the value that they bring to your life? So obviously, if the answer is shame and public humiliation, I want you to know that that is not a good sign. That is a sign where I feel like you would be better off with somebody where you truly love the core of that person and you're afraid to lose them, rather than the fact that, you know, any sort of humiliation is a part of the picture. So in Mary Magdalene, I want you to know that you have something important to share. There's probably a reason why your heart feels heavy, and it's because you haven't been able to truly communicate how you feel and you haven't been able to share that. So I want you to follow that inner calling. I want you to not let anything stop you. If there's something that you need to tell the person in question or somebody closest to you, if there's something you need to tell them about the situation, then do it. If there's something fishy that has been going on and you feel like something is wrong, speak about it. Because if you feel like this person in question is talking to other people, is not being completely serious, I don't want you to swipe it under the rug. I don't want you to carry that burden, because that person is not carrying no burdens. That person is doing whatever they feel like doing, and you're carrying this burden of a heavy heart where you're unsure whether you're given the love and attention that you deserve and whether you're being treated as the only one and the first choice. So don't put that burden on yourself, group number 3. And last but not least, in Kuan Yin, you have to choose to be love. You have to choose to become love. I see that you have to do what is right for everybody involved. And that is the main answer to your question on whether you should wait or whether you should move on. So if the right thing, if you know in your heart that the right thing for everybody involved is to work at it, then work at it. But if you know in your heart that this person would be better off with somebody else, if you know that this person does not want to be committed, does not want to be in the relationship that you're in, or maybe unhappy in it, then it's probably best to let go and move on. But that is a question that you need to ask yourself. How can I do the best for everybody involved? Because if you force a relationship, the person that you're in the relationship with won't be happy and you won't be happy, because after all, you want somebody who is willing to be in a committed relationship and is willing to make you the #1 priority. It should never be something that you have to ask and beg and plead for. So group number 3, those are the thoughts that I have on this situation, as well as the messages that I received from the universe. I truly hope that they've given you a sort of sense of what to do next. I hope that this reading has helped you, and I will see you in one of my next videos. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Magnesite. So group number 4, I want to speak to you about why you may have chosen this mineral, aside from the fact that you liked it optically. So group number 4, the Magnesite, is for anybody who is sort of battling with their mind right now. So know that your mind either rules you or you rule your mind. So what would probably be very beneficial for you is to meditate and start to show your mind who's boss. Don't let your mind get you into situations that you know that you didn't need to be in. Allow yourself to be the ruler of your mind, the ruler of your thoughts, and make sure that those thoughts are only productive, are only positive, and are only of love. So let's move further into your reading to figure out a little more on whether you should wait or you should go. Okay, so group number 4, in your reading, we have the King of Swords, we have Judgment, we have the 3 of Wands, we have the Wheel of Fortune, we have Forgiveness, we have Hilarion, we have Melchizedek, Horus, as well as Take Action. So Group number 4, I'm going to get straight into your reading without losing any more time. So in the Wheel of Fortune, one thing that I see is this sort of cat and mouse game. So I feel like there may be two parties here that are a little stubborn or unsure about what they want. There could also just be one person who's doing this. So if you feel like this person is sort of like sometimes keeping you hot, then you're cool, keeping you a little warm, leading you on once they're invested, once they're not invested. That is what I mean with this cat and mouse game, where you're constantly sort of chasing each other emotionally, and it's starting to make you tired. It's starting to take a toll on you. So in the King of Swords, one thing that I see about this situation and the answer to your question as to whether you should stay or go is the fact that I want you to tune into your rational mind. That is one thing that the universe wants you to do. That is why the King of Swords showed up in your reading. And with judgment, in correlation to judgment, group number 4, do not be unfair to yourself. Do not be hard on yourself for the decisions that you've made up until this point. Allow your rational mind to now take over. Allow yourself to master your mind now and let that rational part of your brain make the decision. Because sometimes, yes, it is best to do things intuitively, but sometimes when you've just sort of been following your intuition, or what you thought was your intuition, but really was just what your heart wanted, or what your heart wanted to see in a situation, you forget that life has a lot of aspects where thinking rationally can allow you to end up in the best possible spot and will allow you to protect yourself as well as your heart. So in the King of Swords, I want you to know that in order to make the right decision, you have to be rational. So if this person isn't treating you well, be rational. Think to yourself, if this is at the beginning of the relationship and they're already doing this, how is it going to be a year in? Are we even going to get to a year? Are they going to drive me nuts until then? So that is obviously just an example. What may be going on between you and this person is completely subjective. It's something that I don't know the details about, but what I do know is that you have to say to yourself, hey, let's be real here. Let's be a realist about the situation in order to make the right choice. So in the Three of Wands, I see that one thing is that you have to hurry up. I want you to make this choice sooner rather than later, because I feel like this situation, as I said, this cat and mouse game is wasting your time. It's taking up precious energy, precious valuable time of yours that you will never get back. And there is so much out there. There are so many opportunities out there that you're maybe missing or not being able to fully take on board just because you're invested in the situation and it's wasting your time. And group number 4, time's up, okay? Time's up for this situation. I want you to make that decision and take action, as we have in your reading. Take action on this situation and don't allow it to prevail and continuously suck up time and energy that it doesn't deserve, because a relationship between two people should not be that hard. If you're meant to be in a relationship, you should not have to play this cat and mouse game. I mean, sometimes in a playful way, yes, but you don't want to be emotionally constantly distracted, because that is just going to stop your success. That is just going to sort of slow down your career as well. So moving further into your reading, I see that what you need to know in Horus is the fact that your thoughts are magnetic and they're powerful. So where your mind goes is where your life goes. If you're constantly thinking to yourself, I should go for this person because I never know when I'm going to meet somebody who is so cute, so funny, so hot again, but you actually know that it's not the right thing for you, you actually know that you deserve even better, then that is where I want you to know that your mind is magnetic. If you think to yourself you should be settling for this, then you will, in your entire life, be settling for things that you don't truly want to settle for. So know that what goes on in your mind and your mindset is what transpires into life. So I definitely feel like that may be why you chose the Magnesite, because you need this reading to let you know that you need to become the boss of your mind, to allow your mind to work for you. And that is exactly what I see in Horus. You have one life, one mind. If you allow your mind to take over the steering wheel for your entire life, then you're never going to get to where you want to go, because your mind can be ruled by fear. It can be ruled by judgment. It can be ruled by a lot of different things where if you don't take control of where you allow your mind to go, it'll just self-destruct and put you in situations that you don't want to be in. So I definitely want you to practice forgiveness for any mistakes that you've made in the past, for the fact that maybe you feel like you've already spent way too much time on this situation and it's sort of bugging you and you know it needs to come to an end. As I can see in the Three of Wands, that time is something here that is on your mind. Time is something that is worrying you and that is getting on your nerves. So forgive yourself for wasting time or using extra time, because we all have different lessons to learn. And you may have just needed more time with this situation to get to a point where you're strong enough to say, hey, if I'm not getting what I need, then I'm moving on. So in Melchizedek, I want you to know that you will learn from this experience. I want you to know that this experience is going to teach you a lot of things and is going to sort of lift the lid on things that you can look into a lot further. As we mentioned, the fact that you may be too controlled by your mind instead of you controlling your mind could be that little piece of the lid that has been lifted, that all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I need to do further learning and studying about how I can control my mind. So meditation is a great one, and also just figuring out how your mind works. I mean, the mind is what controls your life. So if you don't know how that machine works that is called the mind, how are you going to make life work? How are you going to make the best out of life if you don't know how your mind, your most powerful machine, actually works? So in Hilarion and Divine Healing, I want you to not feel like you're being too sensitive. Group number 4, you may struggle with the fact that you feel like you're being overly sensitive, like you shouldn't have these emotions of wanting more for yourself or feeling like you deserve better or being in turmoil about this person. And I want you to honor your sensitivity, because your sensitivity is a part of you and it makes you the beautiful, empathetic, and caring person that you are today. So don't shame those feelings because of anybody. Allow yourself to cherish those feelings and know that they just say a lot about you and the amazing person that you are. And if anybody wants to shame you for your emotions, know that they're dealing with something themselves, and that is something that is not your place. It's not your problem if somebody feels like you're too sensitive, because at the end of the day, your emotions count. You need to allow yourself to know that you're valuable, and if somebody is not making you feel loved, if somebody is not taking your emotions seriously as well as giving them value, then that is not the right person for you to be around. So group number 4, that is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that it was insightful and that it helped you in making this really big decision, and I will see you in my next reading.